Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the UK Stroke Assembly live and in your homes. My name's Tony Banks, Head of Conference and Events at the Stroke Association, and I'm also really proud Chair of the UK Stroke Assembly. We're into week 6, the final week of this programme for the Stroke Assembly, and this week we focus on Every Stroke Matters. We are coming to the end of this run of webinars, but we are going to bring them back in September, which is great news. And we want to hear from you. We launch the next round of webinars on the 2nd of September. We'll be back for another 6 weeks. So please tell us what you think about this series of webinars. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you'd like to hear of more in the future as well. We'll post a link in the chat box shortly. We'd love to have your feedback. If you just give us 2 minutes of your time, that'd be great. This week is Every Stroke Matters, as I say. There's plenty to catch up on as well. If you go to our website, stroke.org.uk/UKSA virtual, you can catch up on all the webinars so far, including last week's amazing webinars that we hosted on getting online with aphasia, which really shouldn't be missed. So please do check those out as well. And as usual, we want to hear from you today. So in the chat box, please do introduce yourselves, say hi, and put your questions to today's speaker. And as always, we have the wonderful Natalie with us taking your questions and comments. Morning, Nat.
Morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session. As a reminder, if you would like to post any comments or questions today, please do use the chat box. You'll be able to find this on the right-hand side of your page, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll be able to enter your comments and questions into the text bar and submit using the little arrow key. I look forward to reading those.
Thanks, Natalie. If you're using social media, please do use the hashtag Stroke Assembly. If you're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, please post. We'd love you to share more about these webinars that you're joining. So on to today, and we're really pleased to have Dave with us today from our fundraising team. He's going to be talking about how you can fundraise from home during a global pandemic and continue to raise funds for the Stroke Association to ensure that we rebuild as many lives after stroke as possible. So we'll introduce Dave, enjoy the webinar, and we'll see you at the end for questions and comments. Morning, Dave.
Hopefully you can all hear me really well. I want to say a huge thank you for inviting me along to the UK Stroke Assembly today. It's an absolute honour to be invited by Tony and the team to share some of the exciting ways that you guys can continue to support us and our vital work here at the Stroke Association. So I thought I'd start off by telling you a little about me. So who am I? I'm Dave Shearer. I am a events manager in the Stroke Association and I've been here for 4.5 years. It's absolutely the thrill of my life to do a job that I enjoy and love and be able to make a difference to the lives of stroke survivors. As you can tell by the accent, I am a Geordie. I'm very proud to live up here in Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. And why not use the chat panel to let me know where in the UK or maybe wider afield you're watching in from today. It'd be great to see how far and wide UK Stroke Assembly has been. So like I just said, I've worked here at the Stroke Association for just over 4.5 years. And I'm one of the fundraising events managers. And my job is to help us raise as much money as we can to help rebuild lives after stroke. One of the best things about my job is I get to speak to our team stroke participants every day. I get to pick up the phone, chat to them, find out what's happening with their running or with their cycling, and get to hear their stories of why they want to fundraise for the Stroke Association and what difference we've made to their friends, their families, and their loved ones' lives. Many of you have fundraised for us before. I'm absolutely certain of it. And can I just start off by saying a huge thank you, whether you're somebody who stood in a supermarket and helped us pack bags, or whether you have held a give a hand and bake party, or whether you've ran a half marathon for us. Can I say a huge thank you? It's absolutely vital to our work that we have your support, and it's great that we can continue to do that even during this pandemic that we're all experiencing. Many of you will have experienced some of our vital services when you've been discharged from hospital, or when you've maybe become an ambassador of ours, or maybe you're one of our loyal volunteers. We just want to say a huge thank you for what you do. And it's not just about fundraising. Some of you will go out and have conversations with people that will share about who the Stroke Association is, and that's absolutely vital for us to continue our work. It's the pounds really do matter, but if people don't hear about who we are, then they can't choose to raise pounds for us. So thank you so much for all the work that you've done. If you have been involved in some of our fundraising before, then why not let us know in the chat bar? Pop in what fundraising you've done, whether you've stood at that local supermarket and packed those bags, or whether you've stood at a resolution run. Maybe you've run it yourself. Let us know what fundraising you've got up to, because your support is absolutely vital to what we do and how we continue to go forward as a Stroke Association. So I've got the real honour today, absolute privilege, to share with you some of our exciting new ways of fundraising for the Stroke Association that you can do at home during this pandemic. Many of you will know that lots of our bucket collections and our events have been cancelled. We've got the likes of the Great North Run, that's sadly being cancelled its 40th anniversary this year and has been postponed to 2021, and then we've got other events that are our resolution runs that have taken place earlier this year and got a pause put on them because of the pandemic. And we've had bucket collections at train stations that have all been paused. So what we got thinking at the start of the pandemic is, how can we help you guys fundraise for the Stroke Association while you're at home and maybe not able to get out and do everything you want to do? And lots of these ideas might be active and might be a little bit more than what you can manage. And we absolutely appreciate the fact that every stroke is different and every stroke affects each person individually. So some of these ideas might not work ideally for you, but hopefully by the end of this presentation and this webinar, you'll have got some ideas of how you can still get involved, even if some of them do seem a little bit too out of your reach at the moment. Don't worry, we have something for you. So I want to start off and talk to you about one of our newest fundraising initiatives. We're really excited to have recently launched this. And this is why I'm going to spend quite a bit of my time looking at this product and looking at how you can fundraise for us using the Stride for Stroke pack. But don't worry, I am going to get on to all of the rest, but we're just going to spend a little bit extra time on this because we think this one is really important to us, and you'll see why in a second. So I wanted to introduce you to Dave. And unfortunately, Dave hasn't been able to make it this morning. Otherwise, you might have ended up having the two Daves, a little bit like the two Ronnies. We promised we wouldn't do the 4 candles gag, but maybe you would have liked that. I think my presentation has just slightly frozen, but I'll continue and tell you a little about Dave. So Dave is very lucky to live up here in the northeast of England, just like me. He's 54 years old, and oh, there we go. My slides have caught up, which is absolutely fantastic. So Dave's 54 years old, and he has his stroke 2 years ago. But Dave walks with his dog, Rory, and now volunteers with our Moving Forward After Stroke group here in Gateshead. And this is Rory and Dave here out on one of their many walks. And Dave's stroke happened when he was 52. So a couple of years ago, he was on holiday with his wife in Wales. And unfortunately, his stroke hadn't affected him much physically, but had affected his confidence and his anxiety levels, and he just wasn't looking that forward to getting out there and doing things. He'd previously worked as a senior project manager in business, so was kind of used to being out there and talking to people. But sadly, his stroke affected his emotional well-being, and we know that affects many of you too. But when Dave had his stroke, he knew that something in his life had to change, and some of that was around how he would look after himself, how he would take care of himself. So he went and had a chat to his GP, and his GP suggested he came along to one of the stroke associations moving forward after stroke groups. And when Dave arrived, he was really excited about getting involved, but yet he was still nervous about what he could do. There was some fear around whether or not he would have another stroke, or what he could practically do with his abilities. So he met one of our coordinators, and our coordinator, Emma, had chatted to him around what he can do, and suggested that rather than thinking of running a marathon first off, that he should first and foremost think about whether or not he should just get out there and get walking. And Dave started getting out there walking, and started walking with his dog Rory, and really enjoyed it, absolutely loved it. And then as he kept walking, he found it really beneficial. And actually, Dave now volunteers with us in the Stroke Association and volunteers with one of our walking groups. And there's a group of stroke survivors. This is the group here that you can see, and this group go out and they go walking every week generally, but obviously during the pandemic that hasn't been able to happen. And Dave got out there, got walking, and makes every step he can for his part of his recovery. And he loves to get out there with his dog Rory and with the rest of the people in the walking group, which is absolutely fantastic, and sees some real benefit on the other side of it. And actually, during this time of the pandemic, he's still been able to potter around, get walking out in his local community. And actually, he's been helping. Here's his dog Rory, absolutely cute little rescue greyhound there. But during the pandemic, Dave's been able to support our Moving Forward After Stroke group and our walking group by giving them some motivational messages. Here he is getting ready to lead some exercises. And for Dave, a massive part of his recovery was getting out there and walking, and seeing the difference that walking can make to his life. So that's Dave's story, and walking really did make a difference. And that got us thinking of how we can tie that into a new, exciting way of us fundraising here at the Stroke Association. So that got us into Stride for Stroke. And Stride for Stroke, as the name might suggest, and as you might guess from what I've been talking about, is somebody out there walking, whether that be one person or a family or a group or a Stroke Association voluntary group, out there collectively walking. And what we're asking you to do is walk for 10,000 steps a day. And that might seem like quite a lot, but don't worry, those steps you can do collectively. So if there's 5 people in your family, you might do 2,000 steps each. And as a family, you're going to walk 10,000 steps a day. And what we're asking people to do is to walk that for 120 days. So that's one person, one family, one group, walking 10,000 steps a day for 120 days. And over that 120 days, you will walk a considerable 1.2 million steps. And that, if you don't know, is one step for every stroke survivor we have in the UK. That's absolutely fantastic amount of people that we want to support, and we need your help to partner with that. So like I said, if 10,000 steps a day doesn't quite feel so achievable, don't worry too much. You can do that as a family, you can do that as a group of people walking together. Or perhaps you really want to take on that challenge of 1.2 million steps. That's absolutely perfect for you to do, but you feel like 120 days is a little bit more of a challenge. If that's the case, then don't worry. Why not change the 120 days to £120 and set yourself a target of raising £120, but walk that 1.2 million steps over a longer period with your friends, your family, or whatever, or whoever you want to walk with. It would be absolutely fantastic to have you walk with us. And if you're an active walker, why not let us know in the chat panel? We'd love to know what walking you've been up to during the pandemic, and how far you've been able to get out there and walk. So that's Stride for Stroke. Stride for Stroke is one person, one family, one group of people walking 10,000 steps a day for 120 days. But obviously, you might want to change that to 120 pounds as your target, and you might want to reduce the number of steps per day over a longer period of time. Whatever you want to do, we hope that Stride for Stroke is a really exciting new way for you to fundraise for the Stroke Association while doing your daily activity, whether that's walking to the shops or just pottering around the house. You'd be amazed at how many steps you get up to just walking upstairs, putting the washing out outside. Whatever you get up to, then your steps count towards that. And Natalie's going to pop some of the links for some of the products I'm going to talk about in the chat panel. So if you do want to sign up for Stride for Stroke, have a look at the chat panel down on the right hand side there, and you will find the link for signing up for our Stride for Stroke pack. I want to move on to another new product that we've worked on, and another new way that you can fundraise for us here at the Stroke Association, and that is Spin for Stroke. Spin for Stroke, as the picture tells you, is a cycling product. We know that lots of people have been out cycling during this pandemic, and lots of people have enjoyed getting used to cycling again while the roads have been quiet. Maybe you are an avid cyclist. If you are, why not let us know how far you like to cycle, or what you've been up to on your bike during this pandemic. It would be great to find out what you've been up to. And Spin for Stroke is another new product that we've moved into working on recently as a result of the pandemic. We had events like the Velo Birmingham and Midlands and Ride London as well that sadly got cancelled for this year. And so we were like, we don't want all of that work, that hard work our cyclists have been putting in, to go to waste. So therefore we came up with Spin for Stroke. And Spin for Stroke is up to you. You can use it in your own time, whatever you want to, whether you want to cycle indoors on your static bike or outdoors on the road. Spin for Stroke will hopefully help you have a great way of cycling together as a family, maybe, or maybe just you as an individual. And Spin for Stroke has 3 distances to choose from. You can choose a 25-mile challenge, a 50-mile challenge, or a 100-mile challenge. So you've got 3 distances there to choose from: 25, 50, or 100 miles. And don't worry if you feel like you want to do that, but you don't want to do it all at once. You can break that down. You can maybe choose to do 5-mile cycles if you're choosing a 25-mile cycle, and that's absolutely fine. And in your pack, when you sign up, you'll get a little sheet that helps you keep track, and you can tick off what miles you've done today, and then tomorrow or maybe the next day you can start again. And Spin for Stroke doesn't have a minimum fundraising pledge. It's free for you to sign up for, just like Stride for Stroke, and there's no minimum fundraising pledge. So whatever you raise will really make a difference to the Stroke Association and the work we do. Lots of you will have joined in last week, a couple of weeks ago, in fact, our virtual quiz with Chris Tarrant. Here's some of the pictures from the day, and lots of you will have enjoyed it. I wasn't quite the smartest in the bunch, and that's absolutely okay. But we know that lots of people have wanted to get involved in a quiz. Maybe they're missing heading to the pub for the pub quiz. So we created your quiz. This is a way for you to fundraise with your friends, your family, whether you do that online or whether you do that in your garden, perhaps with your friends and family around. Whatever you want, we will give you the questions, and all you've got to do is gather the people and maybe ask them for a donation to take part, whether that's your friends, your family, your neighbors, the cat, the dog. Everyone's welcome. Let's get everyone involved, and we will have a great quiz. And you can host that on Zoom, you can host that online, but you can also host that with people in your own garden. So that's our quiz, and hopefully you all enjoyed the quiz we did with Chris Tarrant. And don't worry if you attended that one, the quiz questions are a little bit different, so you won't be cheating yourself or anyone else that had taken part. Next up, we want to talk about our virtual collections. Virtual collections are our way of changing that magical purple bucket that many of you have stood with in train stations, in supermarkets and you've collected money for us, but sadly lots of those got cancelled during the pandemic and we had to find alternative ways. So what we did is we moved from that physical bucket into a virtual bucket. So this is a page that you can host on Just Giving, and you can ask your friends, your family, your loved ones to donate to it. Or maybe you've got a talent. Maybe you are an expert knitter and people have been asking you to teach them how to knit. Then this is a great way for you to share your skills, but also for you to, sorry, I'm just going a little bit dry. I'm just going to grab a drink. There we go. So it might be a great way for you to teach people how to knit that perfect scarf before we hit the autumn, because we all know when autumn comes we will go rushing to the shops and we all go looking for a scarf, but maybe we can't find the right one. So you might want to teach somebody how to knit and use your skill, and what you can do is ask them to make a donation to the Stroke Association after your teaching session with them. So whatever you are thinking about doing, there is absolutely great ways that you can use our virtual collections to your benefit. Next up is our Stream for Stroke pack, and our Stream for Stroke pack is a great way to get involved and get digital for the Stroke Association. Lots of people like to play games online or stream their hobbies with one another or battle out against a friend. Maybe they are FIFA pros. Maybe you're a FIFA pro and you like to compete with your friend. So why not invite your friends, your family, everyone along to take part in a FIFA stream for the Stroke Association and get those fingers on the ready and get those buttons pressed. But don't worry if you're not quite into that sort of thing, but maybe you've got friends and family that are. It'd be great for you to encourage them to get involved and to share how they can also get involved for us, and perhaps they might want to choose to stream for us, whether that's a grandchild, maybe a son or daughter, maybe a brother or sister. Whoever it is, you can get them involved too. Get everyone to come and stream for Stroke. I was talking earlier about some of our events that got cancelled, and one of those was the Great North Run and the Cardiff Half Marathon, and numerous other half marathons up and down the country were sadly cancelled as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that got us thinking, we don't want our runners to have their hard work go to waste. So what we've done is we've developed a virtual half marathon, but we thought this shouldn't just be for our runners, it should be for everyone. So perhaps you are you maybe never got a space in one of those big events, then our virtual half marathons for you. We'll give you hints and tips on how you can train best, and then you can head off and get running a virtual half marathon to raise money for the Stroke Association. Every penny you raise makes an absolute difference to what we do. And what I wanted to do is share with you before I finish. I am running out of time, so I'm going to be fairly quick on these two. But I wanted to share with you some really exciting new things that we are about to launch here at the Stroke Association. I suppose this first one is a world premiere right now. We haven't announced this out to anybody yet, and so you guys are finding out first and foremost about our new exciting Stroke Sixes Challenge. So we know lots of people will use golf as part of their recovery after their stroke, and they'll get used to getting back out there on that fairway, or maybe they will be used to using that as a great opportunity to meet with their friends and their family out on the green. So we're about to launch Stroke Sixes in the next few weeks, but we wanted to make sure we told you it was coming because we know that lots of you love to get involved in golf. So it's really simple. So whether you're in the golf course, in the garden, or maybe you're just in the house putting in the hallway, there's 6 holes to play and there are 6 challenges to complete. Not only can you practice your golf technique, but you can also raise vital funds for the Stroke Association. And that one's coming really soon, so do keep a watch out for it. And then we have coming up our we've actually launched it this morning, which is really exciting, which is our annual Give a Hand and Bake pack. So many of you will have held Give a Hand and Bake parties for us before, and many of you are members of Stroke Association voluntary groups who have raised essential funds for their group using this pack. And this pack launched this morning, so if you do want to host a Give a Hand and Bake party, then why not sign up now? Because everyone loves a good bit of cake. And for those of you that are part of a Stroke Association voluntary group, we are continuing our pact with you guys to help support you, because we know how difficult it is to raise funds for your group. So every penny you raise from this pack can go to support your Stroke Association voluntary group without needing to send us any money back. We want to support you in what you do. So hopefully that's a great way for you to raise money for your group, but also raise awareness of the Stroke Association. And don't worry if you're not part of a Stroke Association voluntary group, you can still get involved and raise money for the Stroke Association through this pack, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're seeing some great things. We've seen some great cakes bought in the past. Sometimes we even buy them from the shop and don't make them, which that's absolutely okay to do. I've done that in the past before too. So everyone loves cake, and you don't have to be a star of the Great British Bake Off to take part and give a hand and bake. So that's a quick overview of our new exciting things that you can do at home. And lots of you have been taking part in those before. Maybe some of those things are new to you. What I wanted to ask you, you guys are the experts at what you want to do. And although we can't promise to develop each of these, if you've got ideas of fundraising things you'd like us to do in the future, then why not let us know by emailing fundraising@stroke.org.uk. We'd love to hear your ideas, and who knows, maybe next year when UK Stroke Assembly's back, we'll be sharing one of your ideas that we've been able to develop. So hopefully you've really enjoyed this session. We know there's been some lovely comments going on throughout the session, and it's been great to hear from you. So I think we're gonna Tony's gonna pop back on screen, and Natalie's gonna give us some help with answering some of the questions and comments that you've been making.
Oh, Dave, thanks so much for running through those amazing events and products people can get involved in. We have had some lovely comments through, Natalie, haven't we?
We have. So thank everyone for sharing your comments today. Everyone seems to be loving the Give a Hand and Bake, which seems to be one of our favourites at the moment. I will just share some nice comments, so particularly from Sam, so tuning in from London. Sam is looking to do some fundraising as my dad suffered a stroke and have been doing some fundraising via the resolution runs and donating money through my side hustle project of CV writing. Is a proud sponsor of such a great charity and work we do. So thank you, Sam, for those nice comments, and we hope today from Dave's presentation you'll be able to get involved in some more fundraising for us, so thank you for your support. Again from Nick, who's previously done a lot of our resolution runs. He's cycled in Cardiff and Tenby and is currently walking every day, getting out and about, doing 5 kilometers as well. So well done, Nick, and thank you for sharing that. I do have a few sort of comments around. I know people have signed up previously for maybe some of our resolution runs, and these have been postponed. For the future, Dave, what do you think? When do you sort of think we'll be able to continue to do those resolution runs, or are we pushing towards doing those virtually at the moment?
So at the moment, we're just currently looking at the impact of COVID-19. And obviously, the world is changing every day, and we seem to get new and updated guidelines. So as a team, we're looking at that at the moment, and we're going to share some news, hopefully really soon, maybe even this week, with our resolution run runners as well.
Thank you, Dave. That's brilliant. That's all the comments I have at the moment, but thank you today for everyone who has shared their experiences. It's been great to see a lot of you who have already done a lot of fundraising for us. So thank you again.
Thanks, Natalie. Dave, whilst we have a minute, I might ask you a question myself, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Just to start, I mean, coronavirus has hit so many charities financially. The Stroke Association, like others, is no exception to that. Just how important is fundraising right now for us as a charity?
Fundraising is absolutely essential. We've seen across the fundraising that we do a huge dip in some of our income coming in, and that makes a huge difference to stroke survivors that we support. And every penny we raise absolutely makes a difference to the stroke survivors we support. And even if it's just £10, that £10, once we are able to get back up and running after COVID and we're able to lift some of the lockdown restrictions, would mean that a stroke survivor will be able to attend a art therapy group where they can communicate through creative aids and boost their real quality of life as a result, and get to interact with so many other people. The money that our fundraisers raise makes an absolute difference to helping us rebuild lives after stroke.
Thanks, Dave. I think that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid. We've run out of time, Dave. It's been lovely to hear about all of these events that people can get involved in, and hopefully we'll be back at the Stroke Assembly soon. But thanks again for now, Dave.
Thank you for having me. It was great to be with you all.
Cheers, Dave. So you heard it from Dave there. Just as little as £10 can make all the difference to people affected by stroke. So please do try and get involved in one of our upcoming virtual events if you can. And that's all the time we've got for today. We're back again this week for 2 more sessions. Join us on Wednesday at 11 a.m. for a session on what does coronavirus mean for our stroke services. You can join the Clinical Director for Stroke, Dr. Deb Lowe, who's going to be with us to take you through that session. And then on Friday, we finished this program of Stroke Assembly webinars with a session on tips and techniques for managing your emotions. You can join that at 11 a.m. But for now, that's it for us. Please do send us your feedback on these sessions, and we'll hopefully see you on Wednesday. Take care.